This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and this is a daily news update. Good morning to everybody. I just woke up. It's 5:22 a.m. here in Ottawa, Canada, where we're still locked down until the end of July, even though there's only like 8 active COVID cases in this city. I'll get right into the news. AEW last week did a 0.19 rating, so getting bumped to a different night has really been affecting them negatively. It's one of their lowest ratings ever. WWE Summerslam tickets in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, August the 21st, were put on sale, and apparently there's 41,000 seats going to be available, and there's only about 1,085 left, according to the Wrestling Observer. So despite some of the events that they've put on sale not selling very well, other than, from what I understand, the shows in Texas and a couple others, SummerSlam is definitely looking like it's going to have a good crowd on hand. Of course, there's a lot of rumblings that it's going to be Roman Reigns versus John Cena for the main event of SummerSlam. So I guess we'll see about that. Samoa Joe apparently is going to be back with WWE, working in NXT as a replacement for William Regal, according to Dave Meltzer. He also points out that Samoa Joe, who, by the way, I used to be tag team partners with, there is a match on this channel of me and Samoa Joe against Jinder Mahal and Gamma Singh Jr., who was his partner, and we were victorious. But Meltzer brings up that him versus Karrion Kross would be a good match. Tito Santana, who I interviewed last year, his daughter, who is an aspiring fitness model and is very beautiful, she's going to be doing an interview with me on Friday. So she's also a multiple-time world champion in BJJ. So gorgeous lady, and her name is Jennifer Haas. She doesn't go by Santana's last name, to my knowledge, because his last name is Mercedes Solis. So I'll find out why that is when I interview her. But I've been talking to her for a while now, and she seems really nice. I did look up another podcaster's YouTube earnings last week, as many of you may have seen in that video. I'm not going to give the troll any more publicity, but I do thank him for the nearly 50,000 hits my 2 response videos got last week. Good free content. But I wanted to look up what WWE makes on YouTube, because they have a huge amount of subscribers. They actually have, let's look at this report. Where the hell is their subscriber count? Maybe I didn't do it at the cut, but they have a massive amount of subscribers, and they're making up to about 62.7 million a year from YouTube. So WWE, oh, there we go, 78.2. If you look at the top, WWE has 78.2 million subscribers, and they're making up to 62.7 million a year. Now, when I put that other guy's information up, some of the comments were like, well, that's a pretty big gap. But anyone with their own YouTube channel can look up their earnings on this Social Blade network, and it's really not that far off from the upper earnings. So WWE is still a monster on YouTube. Explosive Werewolf says Samoa Joe will not help WWE much. Well, he wasn't fired that too long ago. He was only fired maybe a couple months ago. I am super not says Samoa Joe deserves it. What they do often when they fire people for these short periods of time is they just regret signing them for so much money. And then they rehire them a couple months later to a lesser deal, which is what might very well happen with Braun Strowman. So for Samoa Joe to deserve it, if he's re-signing with WWE, that means he probably never got a better offer from AEW. And I don't think Impact pays people very well, from what I understand. Ring of Honor has a few big contracts, but nowhere near what WWE and AEW pay. So it was probably the best financial offer for them. Jason, other than I'm sick and tired of this fucking lockdown here, I'm doing great. Jason says wrestling just ain't the same without fans. Well, it's really bad, actually, when they had the Thunderdome, which I think they still have, and they put in the fake crowd noise. But if it's wrestlers going hard hitting at each other, and it can be good. But if you're wrestling as if there's still fans there when there's not fans there, it's just brutal to watch. UFC didn't suffer as much. And it's not just because wrestling most of the time is pre-planned. It's that they're wrestling the same way they would if there's a crowd there. And it's just brutal to watch. Jesse, what? I can't even believe there's CM Punk fans left. He was an embarrassment to the business. Andrew thought that Edge would be a contender. Edge has been a ratings failure. That's another guy they're paying huge, and he hasn't budged the ratings. So that's why he probably isn't in world title contention, because he doesn't do great for interest at this point. And Christian hasn't done great for interest in AEW either. Why do I wake up this early? I wake up at all different times. As I said yesterday, I'm on lockdown. There's pretty much nothing to do these days here. I have very little reason to get up other than to work. Someone's watching from the Philippines, Chili Willy. Did Terry Garvin Sims die? I don't know if that's the same Terry Garvin that had the accusations about him, but the one from WWE is dead. Scott has not watched a full episode of Raw or SmackDown in 4 years. I haven't since 2005. Do I think Aleister Black will go to AEW? Supposedly they want him there, but at the same time, WWE might bring him back. They might do the same thing, sign him back to a smaller contract. Coach, wrestling is not the same without real stars. True. There's no real draws in wrestling anymore. John Cena is, and they bring him back, but really he's hardly wrestling anymore. Will GNW return after July? They don't even have the gyms open here now. They're not opening until the end of July. So when they do reopen this province, it's not like they're going to say, oh, you can have events again. Great North Wrestling will return when we can put on live events in front of live fans. Other than that, there will be some sort of taping in July with no fans for the Hannibal TV, a Great North Wrestling taping, where you will see a defense of the Blood Hunters Texas title on those tapings 100%. And of course, he's coming to World Class Revolution Wrestling, among other places, such as the UK soon as well. So lots of promotions all over the world are going to be using the Blood Hunter. Steven says Raw is horrible. Who is drawing at the moment? Ratings are in the crapper at the moment, so you could say nobody's drawing. The WWE SummerSlam brand, you could say, is drawing if they had a good good ticket sales for that. But it's also in Las Vegas. There's very cheap flights to Las Vegas. So that's a good place to go if you want to get fans from all over the world flying in. This guy's mentioning that Terry Garvin that worked for GWF in the 90s, feuding with Eddie Gilbert. I'm from Canada, so I never really followed the Global Wrestling Federation. I know there was a guy named Jeff Gaylord in it, though, wasn't there? Jesse says, when am I returning to Texas? I will be in San Antonio to cover the combined World Class Revolution, who I think they're doing a co-branded TV taping with River City Wrestling in San Antonio, Texas, September the 19th. More information to come on that. I am supposed to be doing a podcast for World Class Revolution Wrestling Thursday with the Von Erich boys, Ross and Marshall. John says Raw is terrible. I agree. Carlos misses the territory days. I don't think those are coming back, but as I said yesterday, this World Class Revolution, they've been closed since the start of COVID, but they're going to be relaunching in the fall. They've got, I can't name all the behind the scenes people involved, but there's a lot of good behind the scenes people involved. And from what I understand, they're going to also have access to some AEW talent. So that will be good. Jesse, who is my favorite interview guest? I guess you could say it was the Honorable Paul Hellyer, former Canadian Minister of National Defense, because I don't really care that much about wrestling anymore. I'm really into UFOs, and that was a UFO-related interview. He was the highest-ranking government official to say that UFOs exist, and now there's a lot of them coming out. John mentions that Jeff Gaylord sucker punched Eddie Gilbert to collect a bounty from the promoter. Well, you have to assume Gaylord would have been pretty tough with that last name growing up in the days where people were less tolerant. Hope everyone has a great day. If any news comes out today, I'll let you know. We are on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I do stream all of these live streams on Facebook, and they are ad-free on Facebook. Who am I interviewing about UFOs in the near future? It's really hard to find credible people that are willing to do interviews with me. Apparently Luis Elizondo knows who I am, who is the former head of the Pentagon's UFO program. I did get confirmation on that. He's familiar with my UFO reporting work. DJ says the current state of professional wrestling is shit. I agree. I'm hoping that while Great North Wrestling, I'm going to really put an effort into making something special when I can start promoting that again. And by the way, for some of the trolls that say I've done nothing in wrestling, I have had a promotion that's been in operation since 2007 and has been successful. How many independent promoters have had a successful money-making promotion for around 15 years now? I mean, COVID has killed that. Our last event was February 2020, but I have done a bunch of no fans matches since then. Anyways, I'm not going to go on a tirade on that, but I'm going to really put an effort into it when I can relaunch, and I'm hoping that World Class Revolution is going to be a legitimate old school company. I know they have a lot of ideas, and they have some good people behind the scenes that I'm not going to mention, but some pretty impressive people working behind the scenes. And then supposedly, I don't know when it's actually going to start back up, but PCW Ultra in LA is going to have an event, hopefully in the fall or before the end of the year. It's not official yet, but they're like an ECW-ish style company. And then speaking of ECW stylish companies, there's Battleground, Championship Wrestling. They're having an event at the ECW Arena September 18th where Raven is bringing a mystery wrestler. His newest, I guess you could say, protege or follower will be joining him September 18th. Matt Hardy is going to be on that event. So there's another company that has a situation where they're going to be able to use AEW people. And it's looking like the Hannibal TV is going to be covering their event September 18th. So we'll be in Philadelphia September 18th, and September 19th, we're going to be in San Antonio at the World Class Revolution taping. Ian says AEW is a disaster waiting to happen. Well, it might not be booked the greatest, and obviously they're getting 0.19 ratings. They're not doing the best right now, but they do have some talented wrestlers. So I think it's a good thing. John wants Trudeau out of office. It's not Trudeau that has us in lockdown. It's a piece of shit named Doug Ford that's based in Toronto. And I've never been a political guy, but I cannot stand this guy it's literally repressing everyone here in Ontario. And there's no good reason in my city that has over 1 million people and there's 8 cases of COVID why we should be on fucking lockdown. It's so stupid. The donut shops are open, the beer stores are open, the liquor stores are open, but they got the gyms closed. Make sense of that. It makes no sense. We have idiots running this province. But for the guy saying get Trudeau out of office, the sad part is the government here has actually delayed the elections that are supposed to happen this fall until COVID is over. So they're actually delaying us kicking our current governments out of office. We're stuck with them until COVID is over. And John, yeah, he is the crackhead mayor of Toronto that died's brother. I didn't fucking vote for him. The good thing I can say about Trudeau, which is why I voted for him for his initial run, is he legalized weed. So there you go. Carlos says PCW Ultra is on the Pluto Wrestling channel. There's also tons of PCW Ultra footage on the Hannibal TV. A lot of Tessa Blanchard matches. If you search up PCW Ultra, there's even a match between the Blood Hunter and Sabu from PCW Ultra on here. Jesse, I've been fully vaccinated since April. I got my vaccinations in Texas. Had no side effects. The Centennial says we need to revolt. I'll revolt by leaving again here in September, and if things don't change, I'll be staying in the U.S. again for a while. So, sorry to go on a tirade of that, but it sucks here. People are all depressed, and it makes no sense that everywhere else is opening, and we're still stuck in the dark ages here in Ontario, fully locked down. It's complete bullshit.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month.